burning issue on the happy world of 5FM radio, bringing you hot, smoldering topics on a weekly basis. Passion is important.
Good morning and welcome to yet another edition of The Burning Issue. It's a Thursday edition, this one, and we are grateful that you found time to tune in to this particular edition. We are grateful that you have decided to be with us. Later on in the course of the program, I will give you an opportunity as a listener to call in and interact with our guest. But for now, let me mention that we are live on 89.9 here in Lusaka and the surrounding areas. But also don't forget, we have our radio stations that are carrying this program live. And let me make mention of them. It's Tuta FM on 90.7 in Mwanza, covering the rest of Wapula province. And Muchinga Radio in Chinsali, of course, covering Muchinga province on 88.1 FM. We are also live on iWave FM radio in Chingola, covering the rest of the Kopo Belt on 90.1 FM. Platinum Radio in Ndola, we are grateful that you are tuned in on 99.7 FM, and also Spice FM in Kabwe and Central Province on 91.1. And we are also live on our Facebook page, and that's 5FM Radio Zambia. Look out for that. And also on our YouTube channel, 5FM Zambia. I'm your host, Zachariah Banda. Now, my guest today, we are privileged to host Antonio Mwanza. He is president of the newly formed Democratic Progressive Party. Antonio, it's a pleasure to have you. Long time, Happy New Year, and congratulations for the party.
Thank you so much, Zach, and it's good to be here, and Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all the listeners.
How have you been?
I've been well. I can't complain. The good Lord is keeping us.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to be alive. We have lost a lot of people.
Indeed.
And the fact that we are here today is by the grace of God.
Indeed.
And yes, while we go through very serious difficulties, a lot of challenging moments that a lot of Zambians are going through, people struggling to make ends meet, people choking on personal debt, the fact that we are alive, we have to thank God and praise him and worship him for his grace. We will fight as a country, and we will conquer as a country, and we'll still survive as a country. So yes, it has been a very difficult year, 2024, and we know that the indicators show that 2025 will be very, very difficult. But we need to remain united, resolute, and to continue believing in the grace of God. So as long as we are alive, we thank God for that.
I know you for quite some time, and I know that since you got actively in politics, your vision and your dream has always been that you will rule this country and rule it right. And for some of us that know you for that long, it was a matter of time when you will eventually step up and form a political party. But when did this eventually sink in, and when did you believe it is time? What motivated you?
Thank you for that. I'm a very strong believer. I was baptized probably 26 years ago in the Seventh-day Adventist faith. I strongly believe in the divinity and firmness of God as far as programming the lives of each and every one of us. And I believe, therefore, in the words of the scripture, that there's time for everything. And I think our time as young people has arrived. I've been very actively involved in politics for a very long period of time. I spent about 23 years of my life doing active politics. I started way back from the University of Zambia as president of the University of Zambia Students' Union. But even before that, I was very active, and I held different positions at school, at primary school, at secondary school, at university, at work, and also at church. All these places that I've been to have been places that have helped me to shape me to be what I am today. And I've used every position and every privilege to be a better human being. My stay in the UPND, for instance, helped me to know a lot of things. We worked so closely with his President Anderson Kambela Mazoka, may so rest in peace. I worked very closely with the Honorable Edith Nawakwi, and I am grateful for the things that I learned when I was in FDD. I worked very closely with the leadership of the PF, and I thank them for giving me an opportunity to serve. And I also equally thank Comrade Freddie Member and his entire team for giving us an opportunity to serve. All these places we've been to have helped us to learn statecraft, have helped us to interface with the people, has helped us to relate with our people. As a person who comes from the compound, as a person who comes from Kalingalinga and who had the privilege to go to university, I know how tough it is. And I believe that the reason why Zambia is where it is today is not a question of whether we have resources to turn the country around or not. It's a question of leadership and priorities. We got independence 60 years ago. 60 years after independence, we are 1,000% backwards from where we were in 1964. 60 years after independence, countries that were behind us are doing far much better than us. Countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, all these countries were behind Zambia at independence. 60 years down the line, 60% of the Zambian people are poor. 6 out of every 10 Zambians are poor. We are about 4 of us in this studio. And without any malice, we will be lucky for the 4 of us to manage to raise a 500 kwacha right now. This shows you how difficult things are. 60 years after independence, we are failing to provide electricity when God has blessed us with water, with wind, with the sun. 60 years after independence, we are failing to feed our own people, even when we house the majority of arable land in the southern region. 60 years after independence, our people don't have access to clean water, even when we are the ones that houses the majority of the water bodies that we have as a subcontinent. 60 years after independence, if you go to local court, and local court is very near from here, if you just go to local court, we are now getting about 30,000 divorces, 30,000 divorces in a year. Those are the divorces that have been taken to court. But what about those who are divorcing in their homes? Why are people divorcing? It's because life is unbearable. Today is the 9th of January. Schools are opening on the 10th. Others are opening on the 13th. Parents are scratching their heads. Where am I going to get the money for food, for transport, for uniforms, for accommodation, for my child to go to school? People are dying with debt. If you go to China, I was there 2 days ago. I took my nephew. It's a sorry side. People are going through mental stress. Bazaki manyumba yaonongeka. Bantu nkongole. Bantu njala. It is a sorry sight. If you go into the villages, it is even worse. People have no clean drinking water. People have no roads. People have no transport. People have no access to internet. They have no access to electricity. They have no access to decent sanitation and accommodation. And you sit down and ask yourself, where have we gone wrong as a country? We have seen that 60 years after independence, the same crop of leaders that took us through independence have remained. They are still here running the affairs of the country. If we go back to 1964, the average age of a cabinet minister in 1964 when President Kaunda took over office was 27 years. Himself was 40 years old. And we know and we can testify to the great things that that great group of young people did for this country. There will be no University of Zambia without that group. There would be no UTH without that group. There will be no Copperbelt University without that group. There will be no Tazara without that group. There will be no Tazama without that group. What made them apart was that they were young, energetic, patriotic, and they were the correct leadership to deal with the issues of their time, to provide the leadership that was needed at that time. Today, 60 years after independence, the same people that were there 60 years ago want to insist to rule over us. Zambia has a population of young people. 85% of the people in Zambia, 85% of the people in Zambia are below the age of 45. 70% of the people are below the age of 30. In 2021, 71% of the people that voted in the 2021 general election were young people. Yet there's only 3% of the young people in parliament. So we, as Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, provides a platform for the majority Zambians who are youth, majority Zambians who are young. We provide that platform for the young people of this country to come on board and take the mantle of leadership and provide the solutions that we need today to create jobs, millions of jobs for our young people, to create business opportunities for our young people, to create financial initiatives for our young people, to provide an environment where a young person with an idea can succeed because he is coming from a place where he has a government and a private sector that is thriving and can help him with financing. We came together as young people and said, look, this country, this generation belongs to us as young people. We cannot continue to be used as tools for political violence. We cannot continue to be used as tools for political campaigns. We can't continue being used as tools to line up to vote, waking up at 03, 04 to go and vote. And immediately we finish the voting, the same old group continue to give themselves jobs, continue to give themselves contracts, continue to give themselves businesses. And the majority of the young people that wake up in the morning to go and vote for them, the majority of the young people that are watching this program right now, the majority of the young people that are on Facebook right now and on Twitter, on X, on Instagram, engaging with us on this program right now, are left on the sidelines, only to be remembered when there's a by-election in Petaoke, only to be remembered when there's a by-election in Pambashe, only to be remembered when there's an election in 2026. We've said no. Razak, we are a blessed generation of young people. We have been given an opportunity, a lot of us, to go to school and have different skills. And those skills that we have attained, the knowledge that we have, the information that we have, the energy that we have, we need to use it to make this country a better country for all. Is the DPP, Democratic Progressive Alliance, against the old generation? No, not at all. We believe that the older generation have a very critical role to play, and they will play that role. But that role is to provide the wisdom, the guidance, the experiences that they have amassed over the years. Their role is to help us to be better young leaders. Their role is to show us what they did wrong, is to show us what we shouldn't do going forward. And we will work with them. We will work together to make Zambia a better place for all. And our focus as Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, is to look at the issues that affect the people. We'll talk about bread and butter. We'll talk about transport. We'll talk about fuel. We'll talk about agriculture. We'll talk about technology. We'll talk about health. We'll talk about education. We will not spend any of our time talking about tribalism. Yes, we know it exists. Yes, we know it is a problem, but we'll find a better way of ending it. We will not spend our time talking about insults. We will not spend our time wasting Zambians' time talking about just saying things in order for you to have a headline or to have more numbers on your social media thread. No, we want to deal with the issues that affect the young people, the old people, the women, and the youth. And this is a platform for the young people. Before I end, I would like to say this. The experiences that we've had has taught us a lot of things. But one of the things that we have done as DPP is that when it comes to our manifesto is a product of the Zambian people. It is a Zambian manifesto. We did not sit in a room. Tangala murumu tambopanga manifesto. We didn't do that. What we did was to reach out to the stakeholders. What we did was to reach out to the industry players. We went to the people that are struggling in the markets and we asked them what is it that they think government could do, that the private sector could do to help them. Vazimayi vamene vagulisa nsuko, vazimayi vamene vagulisa chikanda, vazimayi vamene vagulisa tute na nshava. we went to them. Vaja vazimai vaja valipanga timwenda pamanda hiyo. Just Mukwacha Road, there was my vana panga kastandi pa jagulisa tute na shaba. We've gone to them and asked them, Vazmai, what is it that government and the private sector can do just to help you? They have given us what they think that government working together with the private sector can do to improve their livelihood, to improve their businesses. We have sat with our young women at Northmead. We've gone to Northmead. We have sat with those young women who are running boutiques at Northmead. They have told us, these are the challenges we face in terms of marenti ya mashopu, in terms of space mshopu, in terms of toilets, in terms of capital, they have, in terms of market. They have told us what they think government working together with the private sector can do to improve their businesses, to improve their lives. We've been to the agro dealers themselves, the people that are dealing with FISIP. We've been to government officials. We've been to the producers of fertilizer and other farming inputs. We have been to the importers of fertilizer and other farming inputs. We've been to the church, and they have told us what they think the role they can play to change the affairs of this country. So the DPP manifesto, the Democratic Progressive Party manifesto, is a manifesto of Zambians, by Zambians, for Zambians, and is derived from the Zambian people themselves. And when we talk about this manifesto, anybody who is in that sector will resonate. A guy who runs 2 buses per intercity, azakuuzana ati aya ndiye ma issues yametipita mpa intercity. These are the challenges we face, and these are the suggestions that we feel that government and the private sector can do to improve our welfare. So it is a blueprint of what Zambia needs. It's a blueprint of what Zambia is going through. It is a blueprint of what Zambia ought to be in the next 50 years. So it is a Zambian manifesto. That's the DPP manifesto.
And getting right into it, the manifesto itself, I do see also where you are talking about expanding access to free secondary education. Just give us an idea, because obviously when you speak free education, and I think that the UPND government have sung this song the loudest, and I think that they feel this is their biggest achievement among the promises that they've made by announcing free education. But with yours, here, I see expanding access to free secondary education. Just elaborate more on this.
Yeah, so we believe, Vazaki, that education is the only way that people at individual level, household level, and national level can come out of poverty and contribute meaningfully to the development of this country. I'm speaking in this studio because I was given an opportunity to go to school, and I was paid. The government paid for me. I didn't have the money to pay for my education when I went to the University of Zambia in 1996. I didn't have that. I didn't come from a privileged family. We come from the hood. We come from the streets. Makoro pamene vanafa vazaki vanatuuza chabe mwana wanga nilibe vokupasa kunalibe wiu vanalibe votipasa vanatipasa nzeru zonkhala na vantu vanatuuza kwamene uyenda chalo china menu kwamene uyenda mwana wanga ukazipasa ulemu vantu uziziwa onkhala na vantu. Those are the only things that they gave us, the wisdom of how to live with people, how to live with others, and how to make yourself useful. Now, free education under DPP will be education from primary to university level. Now, there are 2 things that we want to do. First of all, is to make education cheaper and accessible for all. But secondly, we want to invest to make education quality education that responds to the needs of the people. We appreciate what government is doing, but we don't want to see our children sitting on the floor. We don't want that. We don't want our children to be walking long distances to find a school, and we don't want our children to be walking on an empty stomach because they can't concentrate. I'm a teacher by profession, and I know to teach to a class of young people that have not eaten, it is very difficult for them to concentrate and to produce the best in them. So we will do the following things. We want to, first of all, increase accessibility by building more schools. We have a serious shortage of schools. The challenge which we have with this country is that our priorities are upside down. If you just look at the 2024 national budget, you will cry, because 33.1% of that national budget goes to public service, Public service is simply administration of government. Kulipira ma government officials, mandalama, masalaries, kwagulira mamotoka, kugula tona, kugula paper, and 33% of the entire budget goes to that, which is a serious mismatch. If you look at the huge chunk again, goes to salaries which are not even enough. Okay, it's because our budget is so small. So we will realign that. Education under DPP will get a minimum allocation of the national budget, a minimum of 20%. And that 20% will go to building new schools, but also just not building new schools and also providing accommodation for the teachers. It just doesn't make sense. Mwendo panga skulu kwa msolo. Kwa msolo kulibe manzi, kulibe malaiti. Mwamanga skulu, mwatenga tandiwe ngoma. Achoka ukablonga. Mwamushita enroll as a teacher. Ati go kwa msolo. No road, no internet, no electricity, no water, no housing. Uzasifunira. We will not do that. We build schools, we build a corresponding number of housing units so that our teachers can be living in proper houses. Then we'll go to renovate and upgrade all existing schools, secondary schools, primary schools, to meet our young people today. Then we shall provide transportation. In schools which are with long distances, we shall to the children. We were doing some simple mathematics. We've got colleagues here in the studio. Zachariah Banda is one of those people that understand the transportation. He's done these things before. We've worked with the transporters and so on. Just one vehicle, a V8, Yamina using a cabinet minister. That V8 costs you not less than 2.6 million kwacha. One V8. You know, just and some ministers, we've given them 2 V8 vehicles each, 2. Meaning that one cabinet minister is using 4.5 million kwacha just in terms of that vehicle. Then you have to provide them with fuel every day. If we were just to say we are not going to buy 10 more SUVs for our cabinet ministers, and the 20.5 million kwacha we're supposed to spend on buying 10 SUVs, we'll buy Rosa buses. We'll be able to provide transport. Because just one V8 ingagule marosa bus yalifo. Just one. And we'll be able to provide transportation for our children who are coming from places which have distances and they are not able to go to school. Number 2, we can't have an education which does not correspond to the market demand. We can't have an education where go and learn, and when you graduate, you are unable to function. You are literally a functional illiterate. Because the things you are learning in school are totally unrelated to the job market and to the industry. So we will work on the curriculum. Our curriculum will be revised, starting from primary education, secondary education, to tertiary education curriculum. We will revise it. We want it to focus on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, entrepreneurship, vocational training, digital learning, as well as critical thinking. And what we will do to prepare our young people for the job market is that we will work very closely with the private sector and the industry, so that when they're at universities and they go under recess, where we are here, 5FM, is just next to Evelyn Horn College. Evelyn Horn produces a lot of journalists every year. What we want is to partner up with 5FM, for instance, so that when those students who are doing journalism are on recess, they can be coming to 5FM and you can be teaching them. So they have the first-hand feel of the industry. You teach them and they learn, not just theory, because this is the biggest challenge in this country, is that we just learn theory. And I've done a lot of education myself. So I know the quality and type of education we are getting. There's a lot of theory and less practice. So we will work with the private sector, work with the industry to prepare our children. Those who are doing law, for instance, will work with the Law Association of Zambia, work with their team of lawyers across this country so they can have attachments. They can learn how to do these things even before they graduate. The Engineering Association of Zambia will work closely with us so that we can work with them and other industry players so that those children and those students who are going to these universities and colleges who are learning engineering must be attached and they can have a first-hand information of how the industry works. And then we'll also make sure that for teachers, because, I'm a teacher, I've taught before in a government school or a private school, napunzisako. One of the problems we have today, Bazaki, salary ya teacher, payslip ya teacher, investa chifundo. Payslip ya teacher, payslip ya civil servant, investa chifundo. It's on red. Our people are choking with debt. An average Zambian who is employed, on average, is getting 7,600 kwacha. The cost of living in Lusaka alone for a family of 5 has gone up to 10,475 according to the JCTR. But yet our incomes remain stagnant. So the first thing is to work with the private sector, which is a bulky sector that where our civil servants are owing. We need to come up with a relief to relieve our people of this debt. Government has to go into a debt restructuring of all civil servants because they are choking and it is very difficult for them to concentrate. Number 2, we will make sure that we continue to provide sponsorship, scholarships, and opportunities for training and professional exposure to all our teachers. We will also make sure that we provide technology and digital learning for all the teachers in all the schools so that they are up to date with what is happening today. But we will also improve the learning environment. We'll go to, I was just dropping off somebody one of the schools, I won't name the name. The government, the grant which is going to these schools is inadequate. This is a school in an urban setting, yet they're using a mandaba because they don't have money for polish, for floor polish. They don't have money for water. They don't have money for laboratories, for chalk. They don't have money for anything. Actually, teachers are using initiative. A teacher, eka teacher, anyamula buku, and dochita photocopy comprehension, using her own money, using his own money to go and teach the children. We will improve the funding that goes to these secondary schools, primary schools, and universities. And we will train more teachers. We will train more teachers, build more teaching and teaching colleges, and ensure that we promote special needs education. We have a lot of children that are going through difficulties. These are children who have got special needs. And yet, if you go across this country has not prepared anything for children with special needs. The deaf, the blind, the disabled. It's not even there in our budgets. We as DPP will make sure that we have a separate entity, separate line, specifically to train more teachers to teach children with needs. That we have a budget specifically to build modern schools that take into consideration the needs of the children who have special needs. That we build schools that take into consideration the needs of children who are blind, who are deaf, who are lame, children who are disabled. And also we shall demand for accountability from the teaching fraternity. We will make sure that we strengthen the governance structures within schools to ensure education resources are properly, efficiently, and transparently managed. Establish a mechanism for regular monitoring and evaluation, because this is lacking in this country. There are no systems to monitor and evaluate, to track performance, to track whether projects are on course. And this is why today the Minister of Youth, Honorable Nkandu, said 93% of the young people, 93% of the women, 93% of the Zambians that have gotten loans from the youth, Ministry of Youth, 93% of them have failed to pay back. Because there are no mechanisms and structures to monitor, evaluate, and check whether they're making progress, the difficulties they're facing, and how government can come in to help. We will encourage the expansion of technical and vocational education to ensure that young people are prepared for the labor market and that they are equipped with practical employable skills. We don't want to produce graduates who are not prepared to work. No. And I've said financial support, we will increase the budget allocation, not less than 20% will go to the education sector. But we also want to increase the collaboration of government and the private sector. We have a lot of Zambians today who are running universities, who are running secondary schools, who are running primary schools. The church, for instance, the church has been very instrumental in provision of education. We will work with all the churches, all faith-based institutions that are providing education. We'll sit down with them and we'll see how we can collaborate, how we can work together, how we can help each other to improve access, to improve quality, and to improve affordability of education. So under the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, every young person, whether you were born in a poor family, you don't have parents, whether you are born in a remote area, you will be given an opportunity to go to school. Your government under DPP will give you the sponsorship. Your government under DPP will make sure that you've got a laboratory that is functional, that you've got a library that has got books, that you've got teachers that are properly motivated, that you've got schools that are properly equipped, and that you have an education that responds to the demand of a modern industry, modern labor market, and an education that is relevant to the needs of this country today and in the future.
Let me, I'm glad you've explained entirely on your manifesto, especially on education and education sector. First of all, you started off with the fact that you find it shameful that 30% of the national budget would actually be expenditure on public service. I would like to get your alternative of servicing, public service. Where would you get the money if you feel it shouldn't come from the budget and it shouldn't be at 30%? What is it that you are offering alternatively? And also, whilst on education, you did talk about most of the things that you've spoken about. To me, they sound as things you intend to probably improve on, because most of the stuff that you've mentioned to me seem to be what the current government is implementing. I will talk about the fact that you bemoan the lack of desks in schools, which this government, I feel, through CDF, and I think that the president has on several occasions made mention and given deadlines to members of parliament, and I think he spoke this in parliament when he addressed the nation, that he didn't want by December last year see any school or any child sitting on the floor, and meaning that this is also an ongoing. If targets were not met, it's probably ongoing through CDF. And I think that skills development, which you spoke about, is actually being implemented again through the CDF. So most of what you've mentioned to me, this government is more like implementing them through CDF. So so we would like to probably hear from you as DPP, things that we've not heard around education improvement, especially even infrastructure-wise.
If the things that we are talking about are being implemented, then why are we in a mess which we are in? Why is it that our schools have no money for books, for chalk, for laboratory equipment? Why is it that 60% of our people are poor if these things are being implemented? Why is it that 108,347 teachers are working on the streets without jobs? 108,347 teachers are working on our streets without jobs. Why is it that our universities are poorly funded to an extent that if you go to the University of Zambia, which is our largest government university, our lecturers are always threatening industrial breaks? They're threatening to go slow, to go on strike for non-remittance of their salaries. Why is it like that? Why is it that we have 3.8 million young people today that have not accessed education? They can't go to secondary schools. They can't go to universities. If all these things are happening, why are we where we are? As one of the poorest nations on earth, if these things are happening, it's because they are simply not happening. And you can go to any school today, tiende pa Evelyn Horn, just up, and go and check the state of sanitation. The state of sanitation at Evelyn Horn. The state of the schools anywhere in the nearest place, and what teachers are going through every day. Pay as you earn. They pay more collectively as civil servants. They pay more collectively as the public service workers than what the mines are paying. In taxes alone. CDF. I don't know ngati mnayoona hapo CDF. Kama mnaona hapo ndrama CDF bazaki. I don't know a young person today who will call in when you open up the phone lines who will tell us that they have benefited from CDF. CDF. And this is the things that we want to run away from as Democratic Progressive Party. That this country cannot develop if we reduce it, for instance, to CDF and a land cruiser CDF and claim that that is development. CDF is a very small, minute component. And the majority of our people are not benefiting from it because it is not even adequate. And even the management of CDF has come under question. The IMF and the World Bank have taken the government to task to provide the audited reports on how CDF is being used. So let's be clear, CDF is inadequate, it is improperly managed, and cannot develop this country. You can't develop a country from CDF kwendo kumba boho. To go and build a 1x3 classroom block. That's not development. That's not development. For a country that has got gold, sugilite, diamond, copper, mukula, to be dealing with a 1x3 classroom block 60 years after independence is a shame. We should be ashamed that we're dealing with a boho. And we have reached to an extent where government officials, including senior government officials, have to go spending a lot of money to go and officially open a boho. We should be ashamed. So the Democratic Progressive Party is looking at a real tangible development that provides opportunities for all. Let's look at where money comes from. First of all, I want to correct the notion that the public service should not be in government budget. No, it should be. But I'm saying 33% for administration is way too much. 52% for salaries is way too much. That spending 11% for education, for 15% for health is way below. And this is why we are in a state where we are. A $10 billion of our budget is so small for a country that is this rich. This is where the challenge is. So where is the money coming from? And let me start with that.
Yeah.
We as DPP have proposed that in government we shall subsidize fuel and electricity. And I saw a lot of people on social media, no, where's the money going to come from? And I say, here's where the money is going to come from. Number one, we shall close all the loopholes that people are using to steal money from Zambia. We are losing billions of US dollars every year from tax evasion, tax avoidance, and corruption. The financial reports show us that Zambia loses a minimum of $3 billion US dollars from the mining sector alone a year. Just in the last 9 months, according to the FIC reports, Zambia has lost $3 billion in illicit financial flows, including corruption, tax avoidance, tax evasion. From 2022 to 2024, Zambia lost $11.8 billion US dollars in corruption, tax avoidance, tax evasion. The Zambia Revenue Authority has said that out of over 6,000 registered mining entities, only 6 are paying taxes. The rest are not paying tax. So we are losing billions of US dollars from corruption, tax avoidance, tax evasion, because our institutions do not have the capacity. Our institutions have not been equipped. Our institutions do not have the leverage to see what is happening. The first thing that we will do in government is to close those loopholes. We'll sit down with Zachariah. We'll sit down with Anti-Corruption Commission. We'll sit down with the police. We'll sit down with the Financial Intelligence Center. We'll sit down with the Drug Enforcement Commission. All these investigative wings are amongst the lowest sponsored, lowest financed, lowest funded institutions in government. How do you fight corruption when the Anti-Corruption Commission itself doesn't have money to do the investigations? If you go to the Anti-Corruption Commission, I've been there several times, you won't even have where to sit. They will call for you for an interview. Where we are here, we are less than 500 meters from Central Police, the largest police station in the country. Just to go to the Central Police office, director investigations, commanding officer and what, they have no chairs. They have nowhere to sit. They don't even have the modern equipment. People are using digital platforms to steal money. People are using digital platforms to transfer money. And our police, our Drug Enforcement Commission, our SEC are ill-equipped, no funding. Go and ask the Financial Intelligence Center, there's nothing they have. Go and ask the Office of the Auditor General, there's nothing they have. So the first thing that we are going to do is to strengthen, first of all, the legal framework that governs these investigative wings. Number 2 is to give them the adequate financial capacity that they need to do their work. Number 3 is to ensure that we provide them with the necessary technology, necessary professional training, and this should be continuous professional training to improve their capacities to deal with the thieves who have really improved in the way they steal. And once the investigative wings are properly funded, properly financed, properly motivated with the modern equipment, modern technology, and they're properly motivated with the transport they need, with the officers they need, they will work properly and they will add value to Zambia and they'll close these loopholes that we have. And imagine if we've got $3 billion that we are losing every month, every year. We get that $3 billion and we inject it in the energy sector. We'll be able to build the new power generating stations. We'll be able to provide the new technology which is able to store electricity. One of the reasons we have load shedding is because we have no technology to store electricity. When we produce electricity, we can't store it. So we can only sell it. But we as the DPP, we invest in the energy sector, make sure they have the capacity to store electricity, make sure that we improve on the current electricity infrastructure, build more electricity infrastructure, diversify the electricity, the energy infrastructure, so we can go into solar, we can go into wind, we can go into biomass, and also make it attractive to the private sector to invest more. Just by doing these small things, these few things, just doing these few things, Zambia will be able to generate an extra $10 billion every year. $10 billion every year. So this is what we are going to do to summarize. Number 1, we are closing the loopholes. These laws that deal with corruption, tax evasion, tax avoidance, we will stiffen them so that we deter people from engaging in these vices. We bring this issue to an end and we raise enough resources to inject in the energy sector and subsidize our fuel, subsidize our electricity. When you subsidize electricity, when you subsidize fuel, the cost of production, the cost of doing business automatically goes down. When the cost of production goes down, the cost of living automatically goes down. When the cost of living goes down, people are going to have more disposable income. When people have got more disposable income, you end poverty. They will be able to take their children to the schools they want, the hospitals they want. They'll be able to invest in some business. They'll be able to generate their own money. Right now, there's no one who has money. No one in this country has liquid. A few people have some liquid, but there is nothing that is happening in the economy. We are not even living hand to mouth. No, we don't even have a hand to live on. That is what is going on. So we will subsidize, and I want to repeat, we will subsidize electricity and fuel by using the money that we'll start getting from the mining sector, from the manufacturing sector, by closing the loopholes that people have been using to steal from us. Number two, we shall subsidize by making sure that the mines pay a fair share of their taxes. Under the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, there will be no tax holidays given to the mines. We will cancel the tax holidays that have been given to foreign mining companies. We will give tax holidays to local industries, local companies. Avena Sparks Minings, they need tax relief. Amajeraboba Bari Copper Belt, they need the tax relief. Radio 5 FM needs tax relief. If you just don't pay 2,750 kwacha ku ZRA today, but ZRA will write you a memo. If you don't pay, the next thing, they will take away your license to broadcast. But our mining firms are walking away with billions of dollars every year in transfer pricing, in tax avoidance, in tax evasion, in tax holidays. And yet, not even ZRA writes to them and tell them, you owe us $1.5 billion. But for a local company owned by a Zambian person, they make sure that they will write to you, and ZRA will come and clamp on you. We will remove tax breaks from foreign companies, give the tax holidays, tax incentives to our own people so they can produce more. It is only through industrialization within that we can improve revenue. When you have enough revenue, you can inject that revenue in subsidies. You can inject that revenue in agriculture. You can inject that revenue in mining and processing. And we will make sure that we build an economy that is based on industrialization and diversification. Let's just, for instance,
maybe while you're at it, I would like to find out what your foreign direct investment policies will be like, because if I heard you right, and I think that you would want to obviously improve or stiffen laws around that obviously would deter tax evasion and all. Does that mean that your foreign direct investment policy will remain? Because also the bigger cry, and most of the opposition political parties are driving the agenda that this government is reliant on foreign direct investment as opposed to indigenous investments that we should be encouraging. What is your position with regards to that?
Thank you. So I'll tackle those two. And I just hope, as I'm going to this issue, the question you've asked, I hope that now it is clear with all those doubters who are saying Zambia has no money to subsidize fuel and electricity, because that has been the issue that politicians have done. Brainwash our people, make people believe that we don't have money. Bazak, Bamweni, ma Chinese, ma Somalians, ma Rwandese, ma Americans, wonse bali muno mu Zambia. They are all rushing to Zambia. Why? Because there's gold, there's sujilite, there's mukula, there is copper, there is cobalt, there's lithium. That's why every foreigner is in this country. How can you allow a situation? And that's money. So when you say we don't have money, I fail to understand. What do you mean you don't have money? You've got gold, you've got copper, and you're saying that's not money. People are coming from places where they only have snow. They're coming here. They are getting all our minerals. They are getting mukula yonse, sujilite yonse, batenga. Bapereka ku China, ku Europe, ku America. They are building hospitals, building schools, building universities. Isetsa na mgodi, na picture, na video ya code box. That's the only things we have. Code box chabwera tamba kupisha. And we even brag we have a $5 billion investment in mining. $5 billion investment in mining. How much of that 5 billion has remained in Zambia? How much? Let's go to the mining towns. What's there? Tiende kumfulira. What's there? Those are dead cities. There is no water, no electricity, no schools, no hospitals, no jobs, no industries. Tiende karumbira kwa mvima inda vima code box. Kulichano karumbira. Our people are suffering. They have nothing. And yet we are providing all the gold, the copper, the what. So we have all the money that we need to subsidize. And I hope I this question adequately of where the money is going to come from, so that nobody calls and say we don't have money. We have the money. Let's go to the issue of talked about FDI, foreign direct investments, and also we'll tackle it with our foreign diplomatic engagements. Our foreign or diplomatic focus will be on economic diplomacy. Wazungu no changera. They don't go to a place where there is no profit. Joe Biden was in Angola just a couple of months ago to meet our leaders from the SADC region, particularly Zambia, Congo, and Angola. And the reason why Joe Biden came here is because Congo and Zambia hold 70% of the entire cobalt and copper deposits in the world. Adabwa mulungu waitivutika. Adabwa. 70% of the entire cobalt and the copper in the world is held by Congo and Zambia. And yet, we are failing to provide education, failing to provide jobs for our people. Maselerayo. 70% of the cobalt and the copper iri mu Congo na mu Zambia, and bantu batu bavutika. Maselerayo. Anabwera Joe Biden. They have created a Lobito corridor. It's coming from Angola, Vango, through Zambia. Who are the owners of the Lobito corridor? The foreigners. Is there a Congolese company which is part of this? Zero. Is there an Angolan company which is part of this? Zero. Is there a Zambian company which is part of this? Zero. But we, as Zambia, Congo, and Angola, we will get our 70% of our cobalt and copper, lithium, and gold, and give it to Joe Biden and the Americans to produce jobs for their people, to build modern industries, modern infrastructure. And our people here will remain poor. The only thing they have is the memory of their president standing next to Joe Biden and taking pictures, and we think we are making progress as a country. No. Our diplomatic focus as a country will be based on economic diplomacy. We'll sit down with you because we believe that we can go into an agreement which we also benefit, and we provide jobs for our people, and you also benefit. Foreign direct investments. There is no country in the world that has been developed by foreign direct investment. Kulibe. Bazungu, Marwandizi, Masenegalizi, Bamwenye, Ma-Americans, Bakabwera muno Zambia, they are not coming here to make Zambia rich. They are coming here to get the resources that we have and externalize the resources to their countries. That's the reason why isekuno tiperera muri ma signing ceremony na ma MOU. But let's go to the places that are producing mukula. The places that are producing mukula have nothing. So foreign direct investment under the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, will not be the anchor of economic development. What will be the anchor of economic development under DPP will be, one, industrialization of our own local industries. Number two, it will be education of our own masses. Number three, it will be favorable tax regimes that make sure that foreign companies are paying a fair share of taxes, and that our own people, our own industries are given tax holidays and tax incentives, not foreigners. No, there's no foreign company which will be given a tax holiday. No, zero. But our own companies will be given the tax holidays that they need in order to produce more, in order to compete. How are we going to develop? It's not through FDI, but it's to making sure that we work with COMESA, we work with SADC, we work with the European Union, we work with the Americas to improve our trade relations, to improve the quality of the products that we produce. So industrialization will be the anchor, and our priority to industrialization will be making sure that we turn raw materials into finished products. We need to add value. 60 years after independence, and after mining from 1891 to date, we still are taking our mineral resources as raw products. We're not adding value to our minerals. We will set up industries for manufacturing and processing to add value to our minerals. When we add value to our minerals, two things will happen. We increase the foreign exchange earning. That's the foreign exchange earning you need to improve on the infrastructure, on the facilities, and on the services here at home. When we do that and set up industries in all these places, we are going to put industrial yards. When we do that, we'll be able to create more jobs for our young people. We want to put up incubators for technological learning and training. So we'll be getting young people. If we go to each college, we get these young people are doing different programs in science, in computers, in engineering, in mathematics, in entrepreneurship, technical education and vocational training. And we build industrial hubs where they go to get professional training, they get financing, and they also get the market that they need. That's the only way we are going to create jobs for our young people. Our target as DPP is to create 1 million jobs in the next 5 years. And this is how we're going to do it. Agro-processing industries. Under DPP, agriculture is a key stake sector that can fuel industrial growth. And the DPP will promote agro-processing industries to add value to agriculture products and increase exports and create jobs for our farmers and entrepreneurs. There is no way, Bazaki, there is no way that this country is failing to produce ma cornflakes. Vija ma cornflakes wana diabana kwenda school. We have to get them from South Africa. Airtel money ndrama zenda South Africa. MTN ndrama zenda South Africa. Mabanki yonse meti nayo mno Zambia, apart from Zambia Industrial Corporation Bank, which is almost defunct, and Zanaco, where we have some shares, and Indo-Zambia Bank, where we have 40% shares, and this defunct Invest Trust. And also Zambia Society Building, Zambia National Building Society Bank, which is offering some maloni ama 50p nukulima civil servants. We don't own anything. We have the finance and banking sector. We are sitting on about $12 billion worth of money, and we only have 2% shareholding to that. No. Under DPP, we'll make sure that we promote our own banks. Those are the banks that will give loans to our young people to set up industries, to have startup venture capital, to have the money to invest in their businesses at rates that are affordable. That is what we're going to do. We will also incentivize the processing of crops such as maize, soybeans, cotton, sugarcane, as well as livestock. When I was young, Kumunzi, Kwamsoro, where I come from, Tenzolima tonje. Tenze na majina lipakatete. Wenzoita separate tonje from tumabola tumasidi. Today, the cotton industry is dead. The textile industry is dead. There is nothing that we make as a country. Nothing. If you go to a restaurant, even the toothpick you use after eating is imported. Toothpick. Kushita import toothpick. 60 years after independence. Even the mankwala met using kudiesa ngombe imported. Even mbale za met chitirapo save wantu tukaenda kuma restaurant imported mbale za safaria imported. We are not going to develop if we continue on that trajectory. So industrialization requires robust infrastructure. So as DPP, we invest in improving Zambia's road, rail, and transport systems to ensure smooth movement of goods and raw materials to and from industrial places. We'll also do the expansion and upgrading of our ports, especially those along the Zambezi River and in neighboring countries. We will come to the energy sector, which is a huge challenge. Bazak, with this load shedding of having 20 hours a day without power, 17 hours a day without power, 12 hours a day without power, you can't develop this country. And ZESCO says they're giving us power in the night because during the day there is no power but to export. So our neighbors have power during the day to work, to improve their industries. As we sit and wait for the night. We are going to change that. First of all, we will ensure that we have reliable, affordable, and clean energy for industrial use by investing in renewable energy sources, including solar, hydropower, and wind power. ZESCO, in its current state, will need to be restructured in the manner it is being administered. There's a lot of inefficiencies at ZESCO. This is the reason why ZESCO can send $80 million to China and tell us later that we sent it by mistake. That shows you the highest level of incompetence at ZESCO. This load shedding we have today, and I want to be very clear, is not as a result of the drought. This drought has not only hit Zambia, this drought has hit the entire southern region. Why is it that in Tanzania they have power? They even have surplus power. They also had a drought. The El Nino affected the entire sub-Sahara, the region. Everyone in the SADC region has been affected by the drought. Why is it that in Tanzania they have power? Why is it that in Kenya they have power? Why is it that even in Zimbabwe they have power? The issue is that ZESCO misled government. They were told we are going to have a drought. The entire southern region. We're not the only ones who have had a drought, but our friends have power. They are even the ones where we are importing power from. We're importing power from our friends who had the same drought, but we're importing from them. It's because they planned. ZESCO, when they were told there will be a drought, the first thing that we're supposed to do was to preserve the water that they have. Since they don't have the technology to store electricity, they should have preserved the water. And only make sure that they only they generate enough electricity for domestic use and very little for export in order to preserve the power, the water, so that we have enough water until the rain season comes, the second rain season, which is now comes. But what did they do? They went ahead and signed an interrupted power supply export contracts that they will provide the power to foreign countries uninterruptedly while they interrupt us, the Zambian people. The manufacturing industry is dying because of load shedding. If you are running a lodge, you need to have power 24/7. You need 6 to 8 drums of diesel every month to run a genset on a daily basis. How much money is that? If you are running a dairy company, you are producing milk, you are producing dairy products, you will need not less than 12 to 15 drums of fuel every month to run your industry. This is the reason why others are closing. They are leaving this country because it has become very expensive to produce here, mukaka, than to go and buy milk from South Africa and import it. So with this load shedding, the industry, the manufacturing and processing industry is dying. These are things we could have avoided. Let's not talk about drought. Let's talk about misuse of our water when we knew we are going to have a drought. Let's talk about signing uninterrupted power export contracts to provide uninterrupted power to foreign countries, while ourselves we are interrupting power in our own country. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about accountability at ZESCO. How you buy gensets, my generator, and you are losing up to 1 million kwacha a day. 1 million kwacha a day on those gensets when they could have invested that money to buy solar, to buy wind. Let's talk about that inefficiency, incompetence, and imprudent use of our natural resources. Let's talk about them sending $80 million to China when they can use that $80 million to generate 80 megawatts of power and end this load, reduce the number of hours for load shedding. And money was sent, and it's Christmas. There are no consequences. You can be inefficient, you can be incompetent, you can be corrupt, and there are no consequences. It's Father Christmas, it's Womba Mwibala, Ria Mwibala, and you can just continue. The following day, the managing director at ZESCO goes for work. The guy who is in charge of finance at ZESCO goes for work. Arizan, I'm sure, in a lunchtime, and Kudia Nansima, atuma 80 million to China, which he can't account for. And it's okay, there are no consequences. Under Democratic Progressive Party, there will be accountability and transparency. We will hold everybody accountable. If you have got access to government resources, you will account for it. If you've got authority to make decisions on government money, you will account for it, and we will not allow that.
While on energy, not to stop you. But while on energy, as vibrant as DPP says it will be, especially also on advancement in as far as technology is concerned, among the alternative power sources that you intend to implement, is it deliberate that nuclear power plant is not mentioned in your manifesto?
No, there's a reason. We have one of the reasons. There's a lot of feasibility studies that have to be done. Remember that the Patriotic Front had earmarked a nuclear power school, and it has stalled. There's nothing that has happened. Is because nuclear energy is a very delicate issue. Even developed countries, including Japan, you remember the Fukushima incident. It is very, very delicate. And a lot of studies have to be done on how to harness nuclear energy and how to make sure that we provide to the people in a manner that is safe. But also, you have to be alive to the fact that the nuclear energy in the current global politics, there's a lot of politics about nuclear energy because of the threat of countries developing nuclear weapons. And the issues of uranium, if you don't handle them properly as a country, you can end up jeopardizing your state security. So if you look at our energy policy, we shall make sure that a lot of investment is made, not just on the energy policy, but on the industry at large, that we invest more in research and development. So we need a lot of money to be invested in research and development so people can have feasibility studies and provide adequate information of what government is supposed to do. It is one of the options, but it is an option that we cannot take lightly because of the security concerns, the safety concerns, as well as the geopolitical dynamics in the world as far as
so your focus was on immediate short-term solutions to
short-term, long-term, medium-term. Nuclear is one of them, but solar, hydro, and wind, we have serious competitive advantage in that because you can put, and this is what we are going to do, we will put a lot of wind infrastructure for energy production in Western Province and Southern Province, because feasibility studies have been done and we have found that these areas have got the huge potential for that. We know that solar, Zambia has a favorable sunny weather, and solar, you can put it anywhere. So this, we have done feasibility studies, we have the adequate information on this, and hydro, we've got a lot of water, which we are yet to enhance. We are not ruling out nuclear energy. It is one of those alternatives, but we need to have more research, more feasibility studies done in this in order for us to make sure that we are safe and to make sure that we are living under the same protocols with the global structure as it is.
I'm very much aware.
Out of the table, it is part of the.
I'm very much aware how diverse your manifesto is, and I know that we can't exhaust it in this program alone. And as such, I would say, look, it's enough that we've talked about your energy policy in as far as your manifesto is concerned, as well as education. But I would want us to have subsequent programs where we can probably tackle others, such as health and so on. But let me, at this point, quickly bring in the listeners who I know are eager to have a conversation with you in your capacity now as a president of a political party. My guest once again is Antonio Mwanza. He is president of Democratic Progressive Party, a party that obviously was recently registered, and he has given us a snippet of what the Democratic Progressive Party looks like, and I would like to get views from you. And remember, we are also live on our partner radio stations, Tuta FM, Muchinga Radio, iWave FM, Platinum Radio in Ndola, Spice FM in Kawe, and here on 5FM. We've got a couple of messages that have come through our Facebook page. We'll go through them, but for now, let's take your calls on 0955 221515. Good morning and welcome to the Burning Issue.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm okay, thanks. This is Zachariah Banda, the advocate for industrial development.
From Kabwe. From Kabwe, right?
Yes, from Kabwe.
Cannabis.
You articulated very, very well. And this is the democracy that we inherit and inherited in 1991. Mr. Mwanza, as an advocate for industrialization, I'm hearing you talking about industry so much. What plans do you have for each province? What kind of an industry will, if you form government, will set up in each of the 10 provinces that were stuck? The unemployment levels of the many youths, because as we stand today, the UPND under the leadership of His Excellency has been resuscitating the mines which you were part of when you were in the PF, was closed and other mines were shut down. Mr. Mwanza, tell the Zambian people how best you will resuscitate these mines once you form government. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Msonda from Kawe. We are grateful for your contribution. We'll take some more on 0955221515. We have another caller. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Kumwenda mutumira kuti? Ku garden. Kumwenda pitirizana.
Tiri bwino wakumwenda muli bwanji?
Tiri bwino. Bantonyo mwanja mulondola kuli. Mamene mandi ya simu isi simbere. Bati pamene mwapi pamene mwakusata papa pamoja. Pamene sinichenjera pamoja. Munga makaingeje mabinangu. Munga maraisi muzionyera naime. Bati mulondola maraisi. Munga sevenze. Bati mumona ni buya mamene sinalokeza. Bati wose banazi maminda minda. Bati mamene siyabo anatokeka. So sisi bati mukapwera kapera mwinavula amene mukagule pamene vakulisa mvula kapera mukatutepo kuiverera pavatenya.
Zikomo ba kumwenda. Have you taken note of his question?
Yes.
Okay. We'll take another one on 0955221515. Good morning. Now kama wakabwanje ba Oswald kuchipata overspill.
Exactly, Uncle. Antonio Mwakaba.
Taukabwino mwakabwanje.
Antonio vamaza mkamushemani. Baba nakujina sikamwa muliri. Papa mulondola mushemani. Wansteka fulani pampando ndani. Mwachinga. Mwahilo babali manja. Abaya panda na solo kwenda maana tumafumu kwa ngatsadi. Sasa mungu kama kile cha kumweza. Sasa ndio tusaka mgosi. Hapo na mimi mabaya senzo kawamba. Unaona kama wanyama tusadi na tusadi. Unjaribu. Unaomba mulondola mushemani. Mwe kuchika. Antonio mwa. Toi mwe. Wazake mapochini zikasema nani ya wazaa. Wacho kafaka tiweke mwana mwangu ukamfaka tena shaendera susabi. So kwa ntenda ndio wazake zamu shikilele namna.
Zikomo ba Oswald. I'll take another. Let me see if I can squeeze in another one here.
I'm all right. Happy New Year to you.
Indeed. Same to you. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you. Comrade Antonio Mwanza, how are you, sir?
I'm very fine and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. You are speaking to prominent now from Arapod Saka here, sir.
Yes, prominent.
You are prominent. Muli bwanji?
Nitunivovuta mdara wanga. Nitunivovuta niwe president kementina randira nitio hike. Tio increment. Otherwise, mulelanda wa Antonio Mwanza sintu kile mfika bwino sir. Kana pia umuntu otwalando ko batwani mubika mukabotoro. Kwa taremona nangula tare umpopo wale tushika promise unde kile muko batinga bayisaba bali bakesa tupera ntwanukane ama laiti yakula ya mu kiyo cyaro pantu ku Dubai bari kara 10 years bari kareme yakeningwa ama laiti no ko yaba bushe nebantu bakwaresa yarema promises bare miraba kainge ikirema ushata muresimona yentumure abantu abakwatu bakasira kwa kino cyaro yote mwando wakwe bati walichwa test divide Comrade Antonio Mwanza iko kwa na ribondanja kwa politician iyi etwala ndokoti tribalism samula ndokoti Antonio Mwanza bakuchikata ndokoti babali bakuchikata southern province. So we should not criticize kula tota tokoti balebomba ngamwa yakumpika kwali ba God. It's a sorry story takwa benisebo takwa besifense but wale kokela God wale bikana mu matumbe ndera bashire offshore kuma account ya charo. You got to free there. You have got copper. Yamarika kulia marasabo kwa timisebo chari ona ikakwata kusimu kuba. Bisabo yewe na Zambia o atulo wani nani. Uwo teko bulipoba twero kwa tuka twero ubunga bwa fiske kwacha. Are we seeing that today? The thing is that abantu taturelia abantu turepokera bene mayanda
na prominent your time is up. Your time is up. Thank you. Great. Let me see if I can take another call. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well. How are you? Andrew Nsama. Okay, you're quite low, Andrew, though.
For very accurate issues.
Andrew, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm saying that first of all, I want to appreciate the president for GPP, Mr. Antonio Mwanza.
Right.
Yeah, he has articulated well issues, what is happening in the country.
Okay.
Yes, I want to also to add some sort to whatever that you have said. You know, it's very good that we have youths like him who has get into the politics. I want to be the president. Because first of all, we need a president who is a youth. At least youth, they think towards the country development.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I want to also, I'm in mining industry. And I can tell you what is happening in mining industry, so you can feel blood and pit for us Zambians. As he said, you know, tax holidays are for foreigners and not for Zambian investors. And you see that, you understand that whatever every Zambian, if a Zambian found that they go here, the government will bounce on that and they will take over. Like what is happening in Mpika? What is happening in Wapula province? What is happening in Southern province over the issue of lithium? The government, if the president is thinking well and is also thinking about Zambians, he would have given those places for Zambians to also to be mined, so that they might have anything. Because in as much as we have country where we have no indigenous Zambia who have industries, a country where who are doing mining are foreigners, and when they get all that money, it goes back to their original countries, native country, and that's what meaning with nothing. And that's the more reason why, with where our president, Mr. Antonio Mwanza, is coming out, it's very good because we understand that he's thinking on behalf of us Zambians. And as Zambians, as concerned Zambians, we see that as Zambians, this economy will not grow. In as much we have no Zambians, indigenous Zambians, who are participating in the industrialization, we are not participating in issues that brings money to the country. When talk of agriculture, this government has really failed. Because if we talk of agriculture, we have a company which is making fertilizer. They are saying that we have investors who are making fertilizer. Fertilizer now is being made in that. But with the whole of that company, we have NCZ. Why can the government empower NCZ that's producing fertilizer? We have a lot of elements which can make fertilizer. We talk of there is soccer. They have found that there are some elements which are good for fertilizer. But what is happening? There is nothing that is happening. We just have read stories. No, they will start mining this and that, and that's what has been happening. So we want a leader who is thinking on behalf of Zambia, a leader who is considering Zambians and foreigners.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
In as much as we have industries, and this industry does not belong to us Zambians, the economy will continue shrinking. As you have said, those peaks have been produced in foreign countries, and we are not able to even a boxers.
Thank you, Andrew. Your time is up. Your time is up, Andrew. Unfortunately, so I would love to take another one. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm okay, and you?
I'm okay. Your name, son? Where are you calling us from?
This is Amburuka.
Amburuka.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Funa ofusa kuba Antonio Mwanza.
Mutumira kuti?
Nitumira ku Garden House.
Okay.
Funa ofusa ngati muno Zambia kuna constitution ya dini yanu yaishe citizen two yama politician wakangena government because a politician wonse mumakamba na kukoti na constitution yamene mtu uzauti ndiye constitution ya ziko but mukangena
mu government kuoneka munga president aendo nkala na constitution yake yosiana na yamene mumakoti ng'ata time yamene kufuna kugena mu government because malamulo ma civil servant kuoneka munga mukagena mu government vamaendo kunkazikana uti ichi usagwireko ichi usagwireko.
What exactly what are you referring to, sir? If you can pinpoint exactly what you're referring to, I will appreciate that.
I'm referring to the way politicians sometimes behave, because they normally tell us when they are in opposition, things are articulating things very well, but I don't know the minister which is in government when someone is ushered into office, changing the position where they were campaigning for. So I want Mr. Mwanza, because he was in PF, maybe we can clarify something which brings the politicians to change goalposts when they are ushered in. Is there any secret of some constitutions, or we have two constitutions?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I get your point. Thank you very much for that. Would you like to respond, or I get some more calls? But I have a couple of messages on our Facebook page. Maybe I will ask that you be brief in your response, and
Please.
then we can pick some more.
So first, let me thank Kefas, Kumwenda, Oswadi, prominent Unowe, Andrew Sama, Ambuluka. I think there are some questions which are related. Somebody, yes. Yeah, Oswadi na Ambuluka, they're asking the same question. What happens to politicians when you form government? You change. When you are in opposition, you call your friends that they are practicing tribalism. When you win, your tribalism, you change its name and you start calling it regional balancing. So if it's your friends doing it, it's tribalism. If it's you doing it, it's regional balancing. And people have been told lies. They are tired. And I totally share in their frustrations. I totally agree with them. And this is why DPP, knowing that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, and knowing that you cannot give somebody power and not give sufficient instruments to check them. DPP in power, if you look at our manifesto, we are very clear. First of all, we must ensure there is oversight, and there is accountability in the management of public affairs. That's why we are calling upon my youth, as my onani, my politician batinama, tuachula pafula. Can we strengthen our laws, but also strengthen our activism? That's why in our manifesto we say we shall work very strongly, hand in hand, very, very closely with the civil society organizations that will work very closely with the media. We want the media to be free, to be transparent, and the media to do their work to make politicians and all leaders of government accountable to the people of Zambia. So we are the only political party that clearly puts it in black and white that the civil society, the media, and all stakeholders, we will give you the leverage in terms of legislation and in terms of opening up space for you to hold us accountable. That we shall strengthen the Auditor General's office, we shall retool it, we shall give it adequate financing, including the Public Accounts Committee. We shall give them adequate powers to scrutinize and hold all politicians accountable. But I want to say this. Tiwa pusika ma politicians indise. Because politician abwera kuna mani, akasiriza kukuna mani, we go back. Ikafika foot election, we are going to make a queue. Tadiama 20 kwacha, ma 50 kwacha, tupasa katishe na kachitenge ya pita. 04 futi tauka taendovota politician abwerera andopanga ma business eve na bana bake balemera. So it is incumbent upon us Zambians, especially if we inisepera isachichepere isemayusi, we should rise up and say no. We know the lies politicians have told us in the past. We have 2026, we have 2031, we have 2036. It is our time. For us as young people, this is what DPP is saying. Come and contest as a councillor. Come and contest as a member of parliament. Come and contest as a president under DPP. And we as Zambian people, we should never allow a politician to fool us. Because atupasa katenge, atupasa ka t-shirt, atugulira moba, atupasa ma 50 kwacha. We should hold these politicians accountable. As long as we don't hold them accountable, they will not change. Bazambo tisebenzesa, baenda. After another election, wabora tisebenzesa futi, baenda. So it's incumbent upon us as a people. I want to answer Andrew Nsama together with Bakefas Mwape. Bakefas Mwape, I want to adopt what Andrew Nsama said as my own words. There's no country in the world which has developed when it is not in control of its economy. You're not in control of anything. You're not in control of your land. You're not in control of your water. You're not in control of your minerals. You're not in control of your mukula. You're not in control of your rosewood. You're not in control of anything. Bamwape, as an advocate for industrialization, I expected you to know better that you, at today, you can't be talking about Vendetta. Vendetta has failed even to invest the money they said they will invest. Have failed. You can't talk about Vendetta. You can't talk about foreigners taking over your mining assets and every mineral royalty, mineral proceed that is coming from the Mopani and all these foreign-owned companies, mine. This money is being externalized. This is what prominent law is talking about. But Vedata wakapanga maafu. Yabwera Zambia or yaenda ku India. Mopani wakapanga maafu. Yabwera Copper Belt or yaenda ku Sweden. You can be proud to talk about mines which you don't own. Do you know how much money from Vendetta has built cities abroad? How much money from Mopani has built cities abroad? How much money from KCM is building roads and creating jobs for our foreigners? And you want to be proud that no, but they have resuscitated Mopani. Mopani, how much are you getting as Zambia from Mopani?
Are you saying it was an opportunity for the Zambian government to test whether it can run its own mine?
We were owning Mopani 100%.
That's my question. Do you think we missed an opportunity as a country?
We missed an opportunity as a country. We were owning Mopani 100%. All that we needed to do was to improve the operations at Mopani, not to sell it out. No, it's gone back to the foreigners. Wakumba miala, wakumba gold, wakumba copper, wakumba diamond, wakumba cobalt, wakumba lithium yenda. What do we have here as a country? Wazaki tije na njala. I program isira manje tilibe na yalanchi. And who's there na yalanchi? So what are we proud of? No, they have resuscitated the mine. Which mine? What is the benefit? Let's go to Kasenseri. Let's go to Northwestern Province. And let's see how people are suffering. Northwestern Province is one of the poorest provinces in Zambia. Zambia is one of the poorest countries in the world. So what we are saying as DPP is that you will never develop a country if you are not in control of the means of production. You are not going to develop a country if you are not in control of your assets, your strategic assets. I was giving you an example of just trading. Tikafola, Tienda ma shopping mall. Who are the owners of shopping malls? Rwandese na South Africans. Ndalama zienda good ku Rwanda na ku South Africa. What remains here? Nothing. Tifola mazingati ma 25, ma 24, ma 3 pin. How much? What can you buy from 3 pin? How much is bus fare today? How much is sakayaunga? How much is cooking oil? So we are saying this thing of thinking that giving strategic assets to foreigners and you call it development is not development. Bamwape, as an advocate of industrialization, follow what DPP is saying. DPP is saying all foreign-owned mines, once we form government, we will sit down with them and restructure the shareholding. We want equity, we want control, We want shareholding, the majority of it to be in the hands of Zambia and Zambians. There is no mining asset under Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, that will be 51% foreign owned. No. No less than 51% of shareholding in any mining asset shall go to the Zambian people. Zambia and Zambians will have 51% shareholding of each and every mine as a minimum. The rest can go to foreign direct investment. The rest can go to partnership. Under DPP, those mines will not be producing copper, gold, diamond, and taking it through Lobito corridor to Joe Biden and his friends. No. We will be processing and creating thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs for our young people. We will be adding value and increase the foreign exchange earning from our minerals.
You will find
that is what
you will find. You will find the corridor when
yes.
you get into government. And what are you using it for?
Yes. So you
are you going to change what it shall be used for in this case?
Yeah. So the equity and shareholding will restructure it. There is no way. You see, mwapanga corridor, mwampasa Joe Biden. Joe Biden Mourinho anatipasa gold, copper, sujiraiti, cobalt, lithium, takangi ibwera ndiwe mzungu zambo vitenga mzambo gulisa mukazipanga maskulu, mabridge, hospitals kwanu mayusi bako Joe Biden wangali na manshito ese watu nango bavutika mu road. It's okay. Kaine na vala suit na tie. That's the only thing we're doing. That Lobito corridor, that investment, where there's what they call critical mineral asset in batteries. All these phones we're having, they're using lithium. They're using cotton. That is what we're giving Joe Biden na wanzake bazungu. That is what we're giving Augarao na wanzake bamweni. Surely you can be getting your assets. Mutenga mukura mpasa ma Chinese. And you can boast that, no, we have resuscitated. What have you resuscitated? Go to the copper belt. What we are going to do, Bamwape, is to make sure. And this is what I've said. A foreigner can come here, go to Mumba, open a mine, and give our people very, very slave wages and slave conditions. And you'll be called an investor. If a Zambian goes there to try to scavenge, kutadie kwa pezeko che popasako something wana, uko imaniligo mine. This is what we're going to do. All these young people who are trying so hard, risking their lives to go into mining industry, we'll sit down with them. Kumumbwa, Kukasenseri, Kukopala, everywhere in this country where there's minerals, we'll sit down with them. And we're going to do the following things. And this is important for the young people listening, because we want 1 million jobs in the next 5 years. First of all, we're going to do a geological survey. A geological survey will help us to map up this country to know where we have what minerals, in what volumes, what value, and what texture, and what kind of technology is needed for us to extract those minerals. Once we have that geological surveys, we will make sure that all our small scale and medium scale mining industries and players will give them the mining licenses, and will give them the geological survey, and they'll use the mining license to go to a bank to get a loan. They'll use the geological survey to go to the bank and get a loan and invest.
Again, are you saying you are appreciating the fact that also this government is talking about mapping up the country? So you will find that done?
No, it will not be done. You need $1.3 billion. To be specific, $1.3 billion, $422 million.
So you're saying this government is lying about the fact that they are set to actually do that?
No, that's what I'm saying. We need $1.3 billion. To be specific, $1.3 billion, $422 million US dollars to do the geological survey mapping. If you go to geological survey, to the mining department, the cadastral department, the entire Zambia, only 2 areas have fully been mapped.
That is before the UPND government.
Yes. Do you know how much? Do you know how much has been put for that exercise? They have earmarked $136 million. We're looking for 1.3 billion. We know. So what we need is to do the correct thing, and to do the correct thing is to make sure that we put money where we can create jobs, where we can improve industries, where we can add value to our products, and where we can create money.
So are you saying this government won't do the mapping?
We are remaining with 522 days before elections.
Of course, they didn't put a target to 2026.
We are remaining with 500.
They did put the target. They didn't target the target to 2026. Yes, they are basically saying they will do.
It's their program.
And it's a government.
It's their program. I'm saying we're remaining with 522 days to elections. I'm saying we're remaining with 2 national budgets. Okay? Yeah. And so far, there has not been that commitment in terms of budget allocation to ensure that we do a proper, comprehensive geological survey to map our industry and to know how much we have and where and what we need to do to improve on extraction and processing. As Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, we will invest $1.3 billion US in our budget, which will go straight to geological mapping. And we will use that geological survey result to go to the Copper Belt, to go to Eastern Province, to go to Northwestern Province, to go to every province where there is minerals and sit down with our young people. Kubapera ma license, no kubapera insambu, shakuya kuma bank, umekuya kusenda ama loan to invest. Right now, as we are speaking, the Danta is going around looking for $2.1 billion to invest because they have no money. They need money. And what is it that they're using to get that money? The license we gave them. And this is exactly what we're going to do. We'll give licenses to our small-scale miners and artisanal miners. And one of the things we'll do, small-scale mining and artisanal mining, no foreigner will be involved in small-scale and artisanal mining. This will be purely reserved for the Zambian people. So, Imisepela.
But you know, Zambians have been selling these licenses to foreigners. Are there deliberate policies that you intend to attach to?
Thank you. And the reason they have been selling is because they don't have the equipment, they don't have the money. And we have not helped them to have access to financing.
So this is the reason why we have a lot of foreigners doing mining, because Zambians who own the licenses have sold them.
We have been told, the way they have told us, you have interviewed a lot of people, no, Zambians can't learn a mining, yes, Zambians can't learn mining. So mzunganga bwela ngachite mining, say yeah. No. So what we are going to do to ensure that we will set a mining bank and an industrial bank. Zambian-owned mining bank, Zambian-owned industrial bank. And we'll also work with the existing banking sector, existing banks as government, cooperating with the private investors and private investment, cooperating with corporate world, and working hand in hand to make sure that we give the loans to our young people to have access to financing, to have access to bring the equipment and the technology they need to do the mining. That's the only way we are going to help them. Number 2, we will zero rate all mining equipment that are bought by our own people. Can you imagine all this equipment you are seeing coming into Zambia by foreign companies, including that code box? There's a tax refund they're going to get from ZRI. And yet, if, for instance, Sparks Mining want to bring that equipment, there is no tax rebate that is given. We will give tax rebates to all small-scale and medium-scale miners, all small-scale and medium agricultural people in agriculture. We will zero rate all that equipment. We will zero rate the technology, and we'll make sure it is cheaper and they have access to it. And that's the only way that we can develop this country.
Let me take some more calls.
Before you take that, there was somebody wakumwenda who said, "Nanga mvula muzaka peza mvula yano." Akumwenda imwe nayo inachoka kuchipata, imwe mchoka kulundazi, inachoka kwa msoro. We are even like it na mvula. That's why mwezi mwabamvera wa president watu wenze clear, wakaende chilema. He was very clear that ku Dubai kulibe mvula ni ku desert. But wana malaiti 24/7. Ku Egypt, the bulk of it, including Israel, is a desert. But wana malaiti 24/7. What we will do is first to invest, diversify, go into solar, go into wind, go into biomass. When you diversify, you'll be able to have extra megawatts of power that you need. Number 2 is to improve the technology. That Kariba was built in the 70s. That infrastructure and the technology there cannot match with the demand of this country today. Our peak demand of electricity is 2,142 megawatts. We cannot rely on the old infrastructure and old technology at Kariba. We will invest in producing more electricity generation infrastructure, but we'll also make sure that Kariba and any other infrastructure that we are producing has the modern technology to store electricity. The electricity which is being produced at Kariba is enough to feed this country. Akumwenda, mukamba tikunalibe mvula, muziva kuti Zesco bazigulisa malaiti. So pano tikamba, mukaenda ku Kenya, kulimbu malaiti ya Zambia. Light in Kenya, ma Kenyans so apa, bali ma industry, bali mafamu, kuyuzinga malaiti ya Zambia. Mukaenda ku South Africa, bali mafamu, bali ma industry, ma factory, bayuzinga malaiti ya Zambia. Mukaenda ku Tanzania, kose kwa mene mungaende, bayuzinga malaiti ya Zambia. So your story ya no muzakapanga mvula, no. The other things, 2 things you should know is that now we have modern technology. At DPP, the things we want to do is to harvest the water that we have. Simaona kumwenda that sometimes ingati manzi ya pakisa maningi vamaenda kukariba kuchivula chija kwambota ya manzi. We will harvest that water. We will not throw it away. We will harvest rainwater and change it into a means of energy production. We will invest in irrigation. Imomkamba kunali chilala kunali bemvula endani pamumbwa. Munaona po farmers wali pamumbwa walindira mvula. Kulibe bacha irrigation. Bacha harvest mines. And those are the things we want to do. Provide irrigation, harvest the water, and we can have watering our agro industry the whole year round. Volindira mvula wakumwenda vinasida. Any country that has developed cannot wait for rain. Mvula ni ya Mulungu. So complaining. That's why there's irrigation. That's why there's water harvesting. That's why there's technology. That's why DPP has been born. IPATE has been born to make sure that we harness the education of every Zambia. Vatiseka vantu vakumwenda. Vatiseka vazungu. So pano tikamba pano tuwazungu tunyamula masujiraiti. Tunyamula mukula. Tilino tilibe mvula ku Tanzania so bali ma factory basebenza so bacha produce mukaka kuyizinga malaiti yanu. Apa so tikamba banzano bali ma factory bayizinga malaiti yanu ya Zesco ku Tanzania. Imwe mukamba no kulibe mvula akumwenda ya dada.
Let me, unfortunately, time is not with us, and we need to start concluding. I'll just read a few messages on Facebook. Not that you should respond, but just so that we accommodate our colleagues on Facebook. This one is from Chenga Igwe, who says, good morning, Zach and Antonio. How different is DPP's geological survey or mapping from the one that the government has kickstarted already, in brackets, paperwork? I advise DPP to concentrate on growing their party and rebrand by shedding off WP completely. I think we spoke about how different your geological...
we're putting 1.3 billion cash immediately.
Yeah.
And
1.3
billion earmarked.
Isaac Rains on Facebook says, good morning, Mr. President and the moderator. I appreciate your stance on most of the issues that you have articulated affecting our nation, particularly in the education sector. On how to address these challenges are encouraging, mostly on our education system. I wholeheartedly agree that our education system needs to emphasize practical and creative skills. Look at countries like China, USA, and many others that have invested heavily in science and technology where they are now. As it stands, our education system focuses on theoretical aspects and often have limited applicability in our country's context. Please be assured, Mr. Mwanza, that we, the youth, are fully in support of this movement, and we look forward to stand under DPP and contribute to the development of our great nation. Keep it up, Mr. Antonio Mwanza. That is from Isaac. And the rest, Obintanga says, this is really nice. Tebi Jupa says, good morning, a very vibrant leader. I like this thinking. Keep it up, sir. And we've got Joseph Banda who says, one Mwanza, we are behind you. Laston Kalongs says, a fresh mind we want. Let's support him. And Francis Mvula Joa says, very true facts. We, the DPP, the young people movement. All right. And of course, a couple of them, the Zambian leader we want with a sound mind from Prince Becky and speaking sense, comrade, and congratulations, John Miyambo. And of course, Nsama Andrew says, this is very true. We need to have more entrepreneurs in our economy to grow. There are a couple of them, but I thought I should just read a few. And Jack Tatila says, congratulations, my brother. Let's make a conclusion. Your concluding remarks as we close.
Thank you so much. We would like to conclude by saying thanks to you, Zach, and thanks to 5FM. Thanks to all the listeners, those that have taken time to call in and to text. We are grateful. This country will never develop if we are not in control of our own economy. As Democratic Progressive Party, we believe that the only way we as Zambia will develop is to own the means of production and is to own the economy. And DPP in power will make sure that mining, agriculture, health, education, technology, everything must be owned by the Zambian people. Yes, we will partner up with foreigners. We believe investment is required, but it will not be our anchor for national development. Our anchor for national development will be the Zambian people. Therefore, we shall make sure we invest in industrialization, in education, in training, in technology, in financing, because most of our people don't have the money. We have to provide financing. And also, this country cannot continue to lose billions of dollars through corruption, tax avoidance, tax evasion. We as a people have a responsibility to put a stop to this and to make production easier and cheaper. We as DPP will subsidize the energy sector, fuel and electricity, because these are the engine of economic development. We'll subsidize fuel, we'll subsidize electricity to reduce the cost of production, to reduce the cost of doing business, and to reduce the cost of living. And to the young people, this is your platform. DPP is your party. We want you to contest on DPP. We want you to mobilize for DPP, because 60 years after independence, we cannot continue with the old guards. They have an important role to play, but that role will be to provide the much needed wisdom, the much needed guidance. The ownership in terms of leadership has to come to the young people. We are over 85% of the population. We are saying our time to lead this country, to end poverty, to create jobs, to create businesses is here. And we have had a very nice program. 2 hours, no insults. 2 hours, no kusabaira. 2 hours, issues of the economy, issues of bread and butter, issues that affect the Zambian people. And that is the politics we will do as Democratic Progressive Party. And that's the politics we bring. And that's the politics that the young people want. They want to know how they are going to harness technology, how they are going to make money using Facebook, using Twitter, X, using Instagram, using the modern technologies that are available. We cannot continue to be begging. The issue of debt, we will manage it. The issue of the IMF, no. Under Democratic Progressive Party, Zambia will not go enter into a program to borrow money from IMF. What we will do will be to work with the IMF, to work with the World Bank, to work with other cooperating partners in exchange of expertise and ideas, but not to go and get 1.3 billion from IMF. No, we'll get 1.3 billion kwacha from one mine in Kasenseri. It will produce 1.3 billion, and that is enough. We don't need 1.3 billion that comes with stringent austerity measures. We don't need it. What we'll do is the cooperating partners will work with them on issues of technology transfer, on issues of technical support, but not borrowing 1.3 billion. No, Kasenseri alone is enough to give us 1.3 billion. In 1 month, it is enough to give us that money. Thank you so much. May God bless us. Let us continue fighting for this country. I know it is tough. People are struggling. Tiziva vantu vavutika kulinkongole panja huko, vikwati vaonongeka, manyumba yaonongeka, njala manyumba. But let us not lose hope. We serve a living God, and you have young children that we produced Zambia. Mulina wanyamata vamene munachita produce. Tiripo tizasevenza tizacaya nkhondo until Zambia is economically liberated. Mulungu atidalise. Zikomo kwambiri.
Thank you very much. That was our guest, Antonio Mwanza, president of the newly formed Democratic Progressive Party. And I would like to thank you also our partner radio stations, Tuta FM, Mchinga Radio, iWave FM, and of course Platinum Radio, Spice FM, and of course for having carried our program live on your platforms. We will definitely be back next week with Tuesday and Thursday editions, God willing. And from us all, is take care of yourselves and more so of each other. Bye-bye.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you for your participation.